Hello everybody, it's Hippodippin, and today we're going to be continuing our series of the best of their types. Again, my apologies for not uploading as often as I am used to. The only thing is, these things take quite the amount of time to make. This one in particular took, I believe, a little bit longer than the grass one, the one before it. And yeah, so I do apologize for that, but I am moving them out as fast as I can. And of course I have other things going on, so my apologies for that too. Just a quick note, if a Pokemon was featured in the best of their types video before, it can be featured in another one. So for example, a Pokemon from this list will be on another one. And yeah, so being on one list doesn't exclude it from another one, so just keep that in mind. And let's get this going. So we're going to be doing Dark today. Dark is a very, very good type, so let's go ahead and take a gander at it. Dark basics, they tend to be hard-hitting physical attackers. Now, there are some definite exceptions to that, but they mostly tend to be physical. They tend to have great status moves like Taunt or Torment that can be used to shut down other Pokemon, especially those that need to set up or need to set up hazards or something like that. Usually they can threaten Pokemon out easily, and unfortunately they are for the most part rather frail. They are fast. They are very fast, some of them, but they are rather frail. And unfortunately, they can be checked easily. They're hard to switch into, but they can be checked. So you do have to keep that in mind. And the only reason they can be checked that easily is because they are frail for the most part. And mostly, if you're going to be running a Dark-type Pokemon, and you're not making it defensive, you know, you're not running a whole lot of defense in it, chances are you're not going to be able to take too many hits. So, now there are some definite exceptions to that, but for the most part that's true. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a gander at the list. So let's go ahead. Number 10 is going to be Mega Houndoom. Now, Mega Houndoom is one of my favorite Mega Pokemon. He's so good, especially in UU and below. I believe he got moved to RU. But he's really great. You know, I freaking love him. He's basically a poor man's Charizard Y. So, yeah, for this example, like I mentioned earlier, this Pokemon could be on another list. This one's not. Like I said, he's a poor man's Charizard Y, so I'd rather have Charizard Y on the list. But, moving on. Mega Houndoom. Great base 140 special attack and 115 speed. That is very, very cool. That's basically tying it with, I believe, Mega Gallade. Actually, I think Mega Gallade's base speed is 110. I think that is true. My mistake. But anyway, it is very, very fast. And it's faster than most Pokemon, that's to say. And base 140 special attack is going to allow it to hit very hard, and that's awesome. It can be very diverse. If you look at its move pool, it gets a very, very wide, supportive, and offensive move pool. Solar Power, which is his ability once he Mega Evolves, boosts his special attack like crazy. I mean, 1.5 power. That's crazy, man. That's really good. He's neutral to fairy moves, which is great. You can actually switch into with some fairy moves because he does get a boost to his special defense, which is great. And unfortunately, he does not have the best coverage move. So he's going to be having trouble hitting, say, you know, like a water-type Pokemon. Granted, he has access to Solar Beam, and if you can get the Sun up, that's great. But he's not going to be able to hit those Pokemon on the switch-in, if they were to switch in. So that's the only problem with Mega Houndoom. Otherwise, he's freaking great. I love Houndoom's design. And like I said, this is not based, like I said in an earlier video, the grass video, this is not based on aesthetics, but I just thought I'd mention that. Now this is a good set for Mega Houndoom. This is the set I actually use. 252 in special attack and 252 plus in speed, 4 in special defense, minus in attack, negative nature and attack. Solar Power's its ability. Houndoom, a knight, obviously. Dark Pulse, nasty plot. Flamethrower, and for the last move slot, you can either go for Substitute, Sludge Bomb, or HP Grass. Now, HP Grass allows you to hit a lot of freaking Pokemon hard. Granted, it's only base 60 power, but if you can hit, 4 times effective move like against the Swampert, if it were to switch in, that'd be freaking fantastic for you, especially if you have a Nasty Plant set up. Now, Sludge Bomb will allow you to hit fairies very hard, so if you can maybe switch into a fairy and then freaking bomb it with a Sludge Bomb, so that's awesome. Substitute does allow you to set up those Nasty Plants a little bit more safely. Personally, I'd probably go with Substitute, just because the combination of Dark Pulse and Flamethrower is pretty nice. I mean, not a whole lot of Pokemon resist both Dark and Fire type moves, so personally I'd go for Substitute, set up a Nasty Plot, and the opponent has to break through your sub before they can even hit you. So personally, that's what I'd go for. But yeah, this set has worked very well for me. Mega Houndoom, great Pokemon. So let's move on. Number 9 is going to be Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz, I don't use it a whole lot, but I can at least recognize its potential. This Pokemon is an OU, and one of the best defoggers, defensive defoggers you can have. Now, let's take a look. Very solid base 110, 105, and 95 defenses, so that's awesome. A high HP stat of 110, and its physical defense is great, and its special defense isn't that bad. It's manageable. Like I said, it's a good defogger. It is neutral to the fighting type, which is, something that most dark type Pokemon could wish they had. He can take hits very, very well. And personally, I think it's an easy Pokemon to use. You don't have to think too much about using him. It's like Mega Kangaskhan in that regard. A lot of people can use Mega Kangaskhan just because it can be bulky, it can be, offensive. But really, Mandibuzz, you don't have to think too hard about using him. You can switch him in, pretty easily, and he's pretty nice. He tends to be weak to special attacks, though, and he can be stopped by taunts, so that is the only thing you have to keep in mind. So really, he's a great Pokemon. Really good Pokemon. Personally, I wouldn't use him. I have other Pokemon that I could use that would probably fill the slot a little better, but if you're looking for, great Dark-type defogger with pretty nice defenses and higher than most, you can go ahead and excuse me, I got choked up there. Go ahead and run Mandibuzz. I mean, not a whole lot of Pokemon can do what it does, and personally, I think it's pretty nice. Let's go ahead and take a look at its set. 252 in HP, 252 plus in defense, 4 in special defense, and a negative nature in its special attack. You're going to want to run Overcoat, allow you to switch into Spore and Powder type moves. Also protects you from the weather, so that's kind of nice. You're going to want to run Leftovers, although I have seen Rocky Helmet be used pretty effectively. You're going to want to run Foul Play, Roost, Knockoff, Taunt, Tailwind, or Toxic. Now, Mandibuzz tends to run this set. Mostly if you see one, this is probably the set it's going to be running, or something very similar. So you can go ahead and work around that if you'd like. Taunt will shut down other walls. Tailwind will boost your whole team's speed, which is great. I mean, Tailwind's awesome, supportive move. And Toxic just to wear down other Pokemon. And you know what? Personally, if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Taunt, just because of that nice ability to stop other Pokemon. Especially defensive walls that would be able to heal themselves through like synthesis or whatever. Taunt would be able to stop them dead in their tracks, so that's very cool. Our next Pokemon is going to be Umbreon. And Umbreon is a special wall, let me tell you that. He is so absolutely defensive, it's awesome. And it really breaks the mold, I feel like. Because when you think of Dark-type Pokemon, you normally tend to think of offensive Pokemon, but Umbreon totally throws that out of the window. And it has awesome HP, awesome defense, and awesome special defense, especially special defense. And personally, you will see this Pokemon a lot, especially if you play competitively. And what that all means is it's very good, it's reputable. So let's go ahead and take a gander at it. Like I said, outstanding base 95 HP, 110 defense, and 130 special defense. And it's a very standard... Sorry about that, my recorder stopped. Like I said, it's a very standard Wish passer along with Vaporeon. And what you're going to be allowed to do is just heal yourself and other Pokemon. Now, if you can go ahead and take advantage of your opponent, if you're maybe predicting a switch, you can go ahead, go for Wish, and then switch out and allow another Pokemon to come in and take the health before you even, you can work around your opponent using Wish. And personally, I feel like Wish support is becoming more popular than ever. And for good reason. It's a very it's a good way to keep your team healthy. It's a good way to keep your momentum going, I want to say. So he can soak up powerful hits very easily. I mean, I have run Umbreon in the past, and I have been so surprised at how well he can do it. He has access to wide supportive move pool, which you should expect from a defensive Pokemon. He's annoying to take down just because of the fact if you do not have Taunt, you're in for a long haul, let me tell you. He is slow, unfortunately, and repeated physical attacks will wear it down. Now, most Umbreon tend to be specially defensive just to take advantage of that 130 base special defense. No, unfortunately, fighting type or any other physical move that is super effective should wear down Umbreon fairly quickly. Now, that's the only thing you have to watch out for, pretty much. But really, he's such a good Pokemon, and the only reason I stopped running him was just because he was so popular. I like to run things, a little bit differently. I don't want to play by the norm, and Umbreon's very popular for a reason. That's all. But really, another thing about Umbreon I forgot to put on here is the opponent's going to think twice about putting a status on you because it's also going to set a status on him. So you do have to, you can use that to your advantage is what I'm trying to say. So let's go ahead and look at its stats, or set, excuse me. You're going to want to run 252 in HP, 252 plus in special defense, 4 in defense, and a negative nature in special attack. And you're going to want to run Synchronize, and that's going to allow you to, like I said, put the status on other Pokemon if they put it on you. Leftovers is pretty much the item I'd put on Umbreon just to maximize how much HP you're getting back per turn. Payback, pretty standard move. The only reason I put Payback on there is just so you can hit double the power. I believe it becomes a 100 base power move if you're slower, so that's kind of cool. Curse, to set up your physical defense even more and slow you down, thus increasing the chances that you will be slower. Wish, to heal yourself and keep the team healthy, and Protect, Heal Bell, or Toxic in the last slot. Protect, pretty standard move just to get that Wish onto yourself. Heal Bell to heal your team of status conditions, pretty standard. And Toxic to inflict the opponent with a status ailment that will eventually kill them, because chances are Umbreon's not going to be hitting too hard. So Toxic does the damage that Umbreon cannot do. Personally, this Pokemon is such a pain to take down that, you know what, I have had situations where I didn't feel like sticking around for 30 minutes trying to take down this guy's Umbreon, so I just quit. And you know what, it's that mindset that Umbreon brings to the table that makes him such a threat defensively. So keep that in mind when you're using him, and you will be set, trust me. Our next Pokemon is going to be Sableye and Mega Sableye. Pretty much the same Pokemon, but they're very different, and it's all because of an ability shift, and that's very, very cool. Out of the two, I have to say my favorite's probably Mega Sableye, just because he can reflect other status moves back at the opponent, and also look at that design. It's pretty nice. So let's go ahead and take a gander. Essentially 2 Pokemon in one. Defensive for regular Sableye will be 50, 75, and 65, and defenses of 50, 125, and 115 for Mega Sableye. Prankster in regular Sableye, and Magic Bounce for Mega Sableye. 2 of the best abilities in the game. I feel like, at least. More Pokemon really need to get Magic Bounce because it's such a underrated ability. I mean, it's great. You can get that priority burns to boost your defense, which is great. He is slow though, very, very slow, even more so when it turns to Mega Sableye. And personally, I feel like it loses one of the best abilities when it Mega Evolves. However, Magic Bounce, like I said, great, but Prankster, in my opinion, is just a notch above that. I.e. Mega Evolve responsibly. So, if you want to save that status, ability to inflict status moves on the opponent with priority, you might want to lay off Mega Evolving first. So just think about what you're doing and you should be a-okay. Let's go ahead and take a gander at its set. 252 in HP, 252 plus in defense, 4 in special defense, minus in attack, and you're gonna get Prankster or Magic Bounce, Leftovers or Sable Knight. If you're gonna run the regular Sableye, run Leftovers. And the moves are pretty standard. Dark Pulse, Calm Mind, Recover, and Will-O-Wisp. And Calm Mind is going to allow you to hit harder and harder and harder, and that's why we don't have too much invested into special defense, just because you're going to be boosting yourself with Calm Mind. And it's Mega Sableye is one of the best Calm Mind users in the game, just because he can take hits so well with physically, and then he can retaliate much harder with a Dark Pulse. So you can either run Dark Pulse or Shadow Ball. Dark Pulse has not the best coverage. While Shadow Ball hits more things neutrally, Shadow Ball does have immunity, so if like a normal type Pokemon switch in, there's nothing you can do besides Will-O-Wisping, and personally I feel like Dark Pulse would just be better. Even if the Pokemon resisted it, if you got a few Calm Minds up, it'd still be doing a lot of damage. Personally, I'd stick with Mega Sableye. I would not run Leftovers, I would just put the Sable Knight on there and evolve when I needed to. That's probably what I'd go ahead and do. And the only reason you have minus nature and attack is to prevent like foul play from hurting you for too much damage. So keep that in mind. And Mega Sableye, very, very good Pokemon. In fact, I kind of wish that I want to use Sableye so badly, but I don't like playing an OU. So it's kind of a boon. I have used him successfully before, and maybe I'll use him again in the future. So watch out for that in a potential new video. Number 6 is going to be Weavile. I love this Pokemon so much. It's such a cool Pokemon. Easily, very, very powerful. And it just freaking bops dragons, especially, and any other Pokemon that wants to go up against it, really. If the opponent's Pokemon is weakened, Weavile has a pretty good chance of being able to finish it off. So let's go ahead and take a gander. Incredible, base 120 attack and 125 speed. That is awesome. That is very, very good. It is extremely effective stab moves. It has a wide move pool. It is near impossible to switch into just because of that crazy attack stat and its ability to sweep through teams with ease. However, it is weak to Stealth Rocks. It is very, very frail, and it is somewhat outclassed by other Dark-type Pokemon, so you do have to keep that in mind, and those Dark-type Pokemon that do outclass it are on this list, so keep watching if you're interested. And really, I kind of wish Weavile had a little bit more recognition in the community, just because it's so good. But like I said, it is outclassed, so that's probably why. But its move pool, crazy. It's very, very wide, and not just on the attacking side either. It has taunt. It has access to a lot of priority. I'm sorry, not priority. Status conditions that it can go ahead and toss on the opponent, like taunt or torment or stuff like that. It's very, very cool when you see a Weavile with a different move than what you'd expect, because it totally throws the opponent off his guard. So you're gonna have to keep that in mind if you're gonna be running a different than normal Weavile, which by all means do, because Weavile's an awesome Pokemon. It also gets access to Poison Jab, so keep that in mind if you're predicting a Fairy to switch into. However, that weak to Stealth Rocks does kind of bring it down a little bit. Also, it's frail, like I mentioned. But most Dark-type Pokemon are frail, but this one especially so, and especially to the Fighting type. I mean, you have to watch out for Mach Punch like crazy. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at its set. 252 in attack, 252 in plus in speed, 4 in special defense, minus in special attack, and you're going to want to run pressure. And Choice Band, Life Orb, or Focus Sash is a nice combination to go for. Ice Punch, Ice Shard. My apologies about my recorder stopping, I'm very sorry about that, but let me just go through the moves again. Ice Punch, Ice Shard, Night Slash, and Fake Out, Poison Jab, or Low Kick. So, personally, if I had to go for any move on this, out of the 3 of those, I'd probably go for Low Kick, just because it hits so many Pokemon that stop you pretty hard. And the combination of the Ice-type stab and the Dark-type stab and Low Kick is very difficult to stand up to. And yeah, if you're going to be running Choice Band, don't run Fake Out. It's just, you're going to be locked in. You're going to have to switch out. So the only reason I have Fake Out on there is because you can run Focus Sash and Life Orb differently if you would like to. But personally, I'd probably stick with the Choice Band just because it hits so hard. But then again, Life Orb is good for that diversity, be able to switch up your moves. And also, you're not going to be living too many hits either, so Life Orb is actually looking like a pretty good option. Low Kick, again, hits Rock-type Pokemon hard, it hits Steel-type Pokemon hard, two types that would normally wall the hell out of Weavile, so keep that in mind. And the only reason I don't have 4 in HP is just because you want an odd number of HP, so that way you can switch into Stealth Rock. It's a total of 5 times, assuming you don't take any prior damage. Now, you might as well run it in HP if you're running Life Orb, but any other item, Choice Band or Focus Sash, you might want to run 5. But regardless, Weavile is so good. And not much can stand up to the combination of Ice and Dark and Fighting, or Poison Jab if you'd like, but really, this is the set you probably want to run with Weavile. And like I said in my earlier video, this isn't the definite Weavile set, this is just the set that I feel like would go with the Pokemon the most. And personally, as standard as it is, as you may think it is, it just works effectively, and that's why it's standard. So let's move on. Next Pokemon, Scrafty. Now, I use Scrafty all the freaking time in my videos, and I love the guy so much. He's really good at what he does. And what he does is he's a bulky physical attacker. And really, when you set him up to be that way, he just does his job so well. It's crazy. Unfortunately for him, he does have that 4 times weakness to Fairy, and that's the first thing that comes to mind for me, but just, if you watch out for that, you're fine. He is, like I said, a very bulky physical attacker with 65, 115, and 115 defenses, and a 90 base attack, which is pretty nice. Hard to predict what type of set it is. In all the times I've played Scrafty, it's very rare that I see the same exact set twice. That's just how diverse it is. It does get access to Dragon Dance, 3 great abilities that are very difficult to choose over. Shed Skin, Moxie, and Intimidate. Now, if you want to run more of a physical defensive Scrafty, Intimidate's probably a safe bet. Shed Skin is the one I usually run just for that special defense, and its ability to just get rid of status conditions over time is nice. Unfortunately, it is slow, and like I said earlier, it is 4 times weak to Fairy, so keep that in mind. However, if you can set up a few Dragon Dances, I mean, Scrafty will tear through teams like crazy, and it has the bulk to take hits too. So you could actually set up a defensive Scrafty, or especially defensive Scrafty, and set up a Dragon Dance, or maybe even 2 or 3, since you can take hits so well, and then just destroy the opponent. So that's pretty nice, and if you run Moxie, oh man, I think it's over. I think it's pretty much over for the opponent, but I freaking love Scrafty. He's a cool Pokemon, and I use him all the time. If you watch my videos, you know that. So let's see his set: 252 in HP, 252 plus in special defense, 4 in attack, minus negative nature in attack, or a special attack, excuse me. Shed Skin, Assault Vest, Drain Punch, Knockoff, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. This is the set that you will see me use in all of my videos that I use Scrafty, at least for the time being. he just takes special attacks so well, and it's hard to find Pokemon with a decent special defense to take special attacks that well. And thanks to the Assault Vest, I mean, Scrafty can stay in all day if he wants and just take hits. But really, I mean, great Pokemon. Great stab in fighting and dark, and the combination of Ice Punch and Thunder Punch is going to keep away Pokemon from switching in, at least. I mean, granted, if they get a free switch in, you may have to switch out, but if you can predict the switch and hit him with either an Ice Punch or Thunder Punch, great. And I'm thinking of the Talonflame or something, but Scrafty's so good. I love him. But like I said, he's very diverse. You can go ahead and run many different variations of Scrafty. Say a physical attacker, you can maybe run 252 in HP, maybe 252 plus in attack, and then maybe you can start setting up. But really, I mean, Scrafty, I love him, man. But really, so many ways you can go with this. I've even seen Life Orb Scrafty, I've seen Choice Band Scrafty, I've seen Focus Sash Scrafty, although I do not recommend that at all. But really, he's such a good Pokemon that you can pretty much go any way you want with him. He can fit in teams very well, provided that the team needs him. And really, any way you want to roll with him, Scrafty will roll with you. So let's go ahead and take a gander at our next Pokemon, Hydreigon. And I have used Hydreigon before. I do like Hydreigon a lot. He's a very cool Pokemon. I mean, just the way that he can, Choice Scarf, tear through teams, it's pretty nice. But really, great Pokemon. Really great Pokemon. And unfortunately, you don't see him, that often in higher tiers. But he is making a pretty prevalent. He is becoming pretty prevalent in OU, and has been prevalent in OU for quite some time. But I mean, he's such a good Pokemon. I feel like more people should use this guy, just because of how good he is. So let's go ahead and take a look. He is a reliable special attacker with 125 base special attack. He actually has pretty good bulk with 92, 90, and 90 defenses. He has a radically diverse move pool. Honestly, this Pokemon has such a diverse amount of moves. I mean, really, this guy is the one you need to go to if you're looking for cool moves. Base 98 speed requires Choice Scarf or Speed Control, and all Speed Control is just making sure the opponent's Pokemon are slower than this guy. And 4 times weak to Fairy is something you might want to think about when using Hydreigon, like Scrafty. You have to think about that 4 times weakness. But really, Hydreigon, if you slap a Choice Scarf on him and you weaken the opponent's team enough, you're great. I mean, really great. And Hydreigon has the bulk to take 1 or 2 hits, so you can easily switch him into something, and you can easily take advantage of the opponent if they make a dumb move or whatever, and you can just finish him off, no problem whatsoever. That's what Hydreigon brings to the table. So let's go ahead and take a look at his set. 252 in special attack, 252 plus in special attack, 252 in speed, 4 in HP, negative nature and defense. You're going to want to run Levitate, which is his only ability, Choice Scarf, or if you were to run maybe Sticky Web on your team, you could maybe put a Life Orb, or even Choice Specs. I have seen Choice Specs Hydreigon, and that destroys. Dark Pulse, pretty standard move. Draco Meteor or Dragon Pulse. Draco Meteor for that strong power, and Dragon Pulse for the more reliable over time damage you will be doing with it. Flamethrower is pretty standard too, and then you can either run U-Turn, Surf, Earth Power. Now, the only reason I don't have that minus negative nature in attack is if you wanted to run U-Turn. If you don't, then put it in attack. You want as much bulk as you can get on a Pokemon. But really, if you want to run U-Turn, it's pretty nice not to have a negative nature in attack. And again, U-Turn allows you to go ahead and, weave your way through teams, keep up momentum. Surf hits a lot of Pokemon hard, and so does Earth Power, so you do have plenty of options. Personally, I'd run Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, and Surf, just because of that crazy coverage you get with it. I mean, not too many Pokemon can both run a Fire-type move and a Water-type move at the same time. So, something to keep in mind. I love Hydreigon, I really do, and he does his job well, which is to destroy teams in a nice, effective manner. So, that's pretty cool. I love Hydreigon. Let's move on. Number 3, Crocodile. Now, I bet everybody who's been on this channel long enough and knows the channel mascot was wondering when Crocodile was going to make his. And here is where he comes in. Crocodile, very underrated Pokemon, and it has even been described as the Garchomp of UU. And honestly, I think he's the same amount. He can be effective any way you want to run him, and really, he can be, you know, the Garchomp of OU if you really wanted him to be, and he can very well be that. And thanks to his radical ability, Moxie, if you get 1 or 2 kills, I think it's over. I really do. And that's the great thing about Crocodile. If you kill 2 weakened Pokemon, every other Pokemon is going to fall to it, and then it's just going to keep boosting and boosting and boosting his power, especially if you get rid of like ground immunities like Levitate users or flying users, and you can easily then just destroy if you really wanted to. Great physical attacker with 117 base attack, which is pretty good. It's almost base 120. Fairly bulky with 90, 80, and 70 defenses, and its defenses actually got boosted in XY. Since XY, excuse me, is 80 defense used to be 70, so he did get a slight boost in his defensive stats. Access to Moxie, and that's what really saves this Pokemon. This is what that puts that Pokemon at number 3. I mean, and the fact that he's fast, or at least fast compared to some other Moxie users, makes him that good. Some of the best coverage in the metagame. That ground and rock type coverage is some of the best coverage that is sought among Pokemon. And if you look in any community and ask any Pokemon experienced Pokemon player, and you ask them their opinion about the coverage in ground and rock, they're going to say it's pretty good. It's pretty great, actually. And one covers the other, vice versa. He is diverse and unpredictable. I have seen so many Crocodile sets in my day that, I mean, he can be run as a stealth rocker, he can be run as a physical sweeper, which is what I run him as, and he can be run as just a bulky Pokemon. You really can. And unfortunately, the only thing wrong with Crocodile is his base 92 speed. Like I said, it's fairly lackluster. However, if you put a Choice Scarf on it or run it in some other way that speed doesn't necessarily matter, I think it's over. I really do. Crocodile is just one of those Pokemon that can easily destroy teams. And if you can make a few good predictions, I don't think the opponent can come back. But that all depends on circumstances, though. But anyway, Crocodile, as you can tell, I freaking love him so much. He's very dear to me, and he's great. So let's go ahead and take a look at his set. This is the set I run, and this is the set that has worked out for me in the past. 252 in attack, 252 plus in speed, 4 in HP, negative nature and special attack. Moxie, of course, although he does get access to Intimidate and Anger Point. I did at one point run Anger Point Crocodile, but then Moxie is so much more reliable. You're going to want to run Choice Scarf, at least for this set. And Crunch or Knockoff, Superpower, Earthquake, and Stone Edge. And really, personally I run Crunch just because over time the damage done by Crunch is larger than the damage done by Knockoff. Knockoff is base 65 attack power once the item is knocked off, but if it's Crunch is base 80, so you're going to be hitting harder with Crunch consecutively, so keep that in mind. Superpower, just to hit those people that think they can bring in Greninja on a Crocodile. I destroy Greninjas with Superpower. It's ridiculous. Earthquake and Stone Edge, that awesome ground rock stab. Not rock isn't stab, but I'm just saying that coverage is so ridiculously good. I mean, I don't think you can get much better than ground and rock coverage. I mean, it's one covers the other. It's great. But really, this set can take advantage of so many Pokemon, and especially if they're weakened. And if you can get a free switch into a weakened Pokemon, start getting those boosts, it's very, very hard. It's almost like an addiction. When you get, let's say, +3, it is so hard to stop. I mean, even when your brain tells you it's probably a good idea, your heart just says, keep going, man. Crocodile wants this. But anyway, I freaking love Crocodile, and you can probably know why more right now, but I mean, Crocodile's so good. Anyway, let's look at our next Pokemon, Bisharp. And Bisharp is becoming very, very popular in VGC, as I noticed. A lot of people use him, and for good reason. He's neutral to Fairy. He's a Fairy Destroyer, number 1. And number 2, he is so viable in, say, VGC or an OU, just because he's not what you'd expect, to be honest. When you look at this Pokemon, you think, well, Bisharp is probably going to be run as a physical attacker, and he is. But he does have an awesome base 100 defense, so let's go ahead and take a look. Astounding, base 125 attack. Defiant is one of his abilities, and it allows him to switch into Intimidate and get an attack boost. Another good reason to use this Pokemon. Base 100 defense, as I said. One of the most popular Pokemon in VGC, as I said, and he can sweep Pokemon faster than it with Sucker Punch. However, he is slow, base 70 speed, and he's 4 times weak to fighting, so that is kind of a bummer. You are going to have to watch out for fighting type moves, ground type moves, you know, stuff that would stop Bisharp, especially if they're faster and you wouldn't be able to kill it with, say, a Sucker Punch, especially those fighting types. Bisharp's a very cool Pokemon in the fact that it is it just destroys fairies. I believe Sylveon gets 1-hit KO'd if it's hit by Iron Head by max attack Bisharp. No boost or anything. I believe that's true. Let's move on. Let's look at his set. 252 plus and attack, 252 speed, 4 in HP, negative nature, and special attack. Defiant allows you to switch into intimidates and stat changing moves, get an attack boost. Life Orb or Focus Sash, Sucker Punch, Knockoff, Iron Head, and Sword Stance. And that's freaking great. I mean, this set, just thinking about using this Pokemon is so good. Sucker Punch, like I said, to hit Pokemon faster than you. Knockoff deals major damage. You know, it's stab, base 125 attack. It's great. Iron Head hits those fairies, hits rock types. A lot of Pokemon very, very hard. And Sword Stance just to keep boosting over and over and over again until you get to the point where you're nigh unstoppable. So just if you use this Pokemon correctly, like I said for a lot of Pokemon previous on this list, if you use this Pokemon correctly, I don't think it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to break through, that's for sure. And the thing about Bisharp is he's becoming so popular now that it's almost standard to see it on a team. But I tend to go on, so let's move on. Let's move on to number 1. Tyranitar and Mega Tyranitar. These are essentially 2 very different Pokemon. Mega Tyranitars run very differently than, say, regular Tyranitar. You do tend to see regular Tyranitar much more often, but Mega Tyranitar is, in my opinion, the bigger threat. Now, the reason people run regular Tyranitar more often than Mega Tyranitar is just because they want that extra Mega slot. So, but really, I mean, 2 very different Pokemon in one. I cannot stress that enough. One tends to be more bulky, while the other one tends to be more offensive. And personally, my tastes tend to be towards a more offensive Pokemon, which is Mega Tyranitar. And also, I know I said this isn't based on aesthetics, and it's not, but just look at that design. He looks like a freaking god coming down to Earth to, start the cleansing of the human race. I mean, he's great. Anyway, let's move on. Like I said, 2 very different Pokemon in one, and they have some of the greatest stats I've seen in any Pokemon to date. For regular Tyranitar, his base stats are 100, 134, 110, 95, 100, and 61. Now, the lowest stat is 61, and that's his speed, but you're not going to be relying on speed too much. just because, look, you can take attacks so well, and thanks to the Sandstorm, your special attack is going to be boosted by 1.5, essentially making that 100 stat 150. Something to keep in mind. Mega Tyranitar's base stats are 100, 164, 150, 95, 120, and 71. So essentially, again, boosting your special defense to the point where you don't need to boost it yourself. You don't need to put anything in it to make it high. His defense gets a... sorry, my recorder got cut off there. But his defense gets a crazy boost, plus 40. His attack gets a crazy boost, plus 30. And all his other stats are essentially the same, except for speed. He gets a plus 10 boost in speed, which actually does help him out a lot. And if you can set up a Dragon Dance, I think you're pretty safe to say that I think it's over. But really, Mega Tyranitar, easily my favorite of the two. But regular Tyranitar is very viable as well. Don't ever think he's not. He's just run differently, that's all. He sets up the Sandstorm automatically. You don't need to waste a turn. He can be offensive or defensive or both. He is slow, but he can be boosted through Dragon Dance and Rock Polish. And unfortunately, like a few previous Pokemon on this list, he is 4 times weak to fighting. So if you can work around that and get rid of the opponent's fighting type Pokemon first, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say Mega Tyranitar, or regular Tyranitar for that matter, can go ahead and sweep through teams easily. This is a regular Tyranitar set, 252 in HP, 252 plus in special defense, 4 in defense, negative nature and special attack, Sandstream, and you can either run Assault Vest or Leftovers. I'd probably run Assault Vest, but Leftovers, good option as well. Actually, Leftovers is, I think, just as viable. Crunch, Fire Punch, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. And the only reason there is no boosting moves on this set is because of the Assault Vest, which is probably what I'd run. But if you were to run Leftovers, I'd probably get rid of Fire Punch and run a, Dragon Dance or something like that. But Fire Punch hits Fairhorn so hard. Honestly, Fairhorn can't even switch into Tyranitar anymore, thanks to Fire Punch. And even with the Sandstorm up, even with that boost, he's not going to be able to do anything against it. So, Fire Punch, physical move, I think it's over. But really, good stats in this Pokemon. And if the combination Crunch, Fire Punch, Stone Edge, and Earthquake, I think no Pokemon can ever resist all those moves at once. But really, I think that's a very safe bet to say, go ahead and run it. I mean, this Pokemon can go ahead and just work his way through teams, very little difficulty. And not many Pokemon can say that about themselves. But Tyranitar definitely can. And next, Mega Tyranitar, 252 plus in attack, 252 in speed, 4 in HP, negative nature, and 2 in special attack. Sandstream, of course, Tyranitar, of course, and Crunch, Dragon Dance, Stone Edge, and Earthquake. Pretty much the same set as last time, only got rid of Fire Punch, but Dragon Dance, eventually no Pokemon would be able to stop you. And really, with that base 150, defense, I think, you might as well end it there. I don't think any Pokemon would be able to stop you at that point. But you can take hits easily, and then you can retaliate hard with that base 164 attack stat. So if you can use that, by all means, go right ahead. Unfortunately, you do not see Mega Tyranitar too often, just because other Pokemon can maybe fill the Mega slot a little better, since regular Tyranitar can be useful. But really, Mega Tyranitar, forced to be reckoned with, really. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much Tyranitar. Now, you might be thinking, where's Greninja? But I made a whole segment for this. Greninja, a good Pokemon. I think too good of a Pokemon. And as you can see here, Greninja has been suspect tested by Smogon to ban it to Ubers. And personally, I'm in favor of that because Greninja inhibits team building. Ever since X and Y, teams had to be revolved around stopping Greninja. And personally, that just makes it not fun to, play in OU. Just the fact that you have to cover threats you know are going to be there. namely Greninja, Heatran, Pokemon like that, Landorus T. You do have to keep that in mind when you're team building, and if one of those Pokemon, especially one of the more powerful Pokemon, is, banned to Ubers, you don't have to worry about it anymore. Unfortunately, a lot of people who support Greninja staying in OU don't have that great of an argument. They say just run a Choice Scarfer. Well, what if it's Focus Sash and Greninja takes out your Choice Scarfer? You have no way to stop it, almost, really. And thanks to its crazy amount of diversity, it's pretty much unheard of to come back, after Greninja tears through your team a little. And it's inevitable. This shift will happen, and a lot of people have been voting on it already. And I think it's just a matter of time at this point. Will allow for more breathing room where team building is concerned. Like I said, so many Pokemon inhibit team building in Ubers that it's just not, you have to keep in mind what the opponent will be bringing, which is undoubtedly Greninja, Heatran, Landorus T, and then 3 other Pokemon. But if Greninja's gone, a little bit more breathing room, just because not too many Pokemon would be able to check it. So, and the reason for this suspect test is the fact that Greninja has barely any switch-ins or counters. And counters, man, are hard to come by for some specific Pokemon, and Greninja has basically 0. Really, really unfortunate for that. But Greninja's ridiculous access to Protein and a pretty decent base 103 special attack and blisteringly fast 122 speed is just going to make it even harder to kill. Once Greninja goes rampant, it's not able to be stopped. So, but if you did want to run it, say on a cartridge and not on Smogon, 252 in special attack, 252 plus in speed, 4 in special defense, negative nature and attack, and attack or defense, Protein, hidden ability, best ability, Life Orb or Focus Sash. Focus Sash is definitely becoming more popular, while Life Orb was more popular in the past. You could really go either way. It all depends on what your team needs. If you want a Pokemon that can take a hit and then kill 2 or 3 Pokemon, probably Focus Sash, excuse me. But the moves you're probably going to want to run is Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Dark Pulse, Grass Knot, or U-Turn. And I have seen some pretty wacky sets with spikes, toxic spikes, and just a set that was just weird. But really, this is the set you'd see the most often, and the set that would you'd probably expect your opponent to be running. And it works out pretty nicely. I mean, I have used Greninja in the past, and I did use a set very similar. Greninja can also be physically offensive, but especially offensive is how it's usually run. And personally, I agree with that, just because it has a higher base special attack stat, and it's something to look at when you're playing on a cartridge. But soon, by Smogon, I don't think it's going to last very long. So let's go ahead and say thank you for watching. I appreciate it a whole lot. Your support means everything to me, and I do appreciate it. And if you have watched this whole video, props to you, man. I mean, it's been a long video, and I can totally understand your reluctance to watch the whole thing. But if you have, I do appreciate it a whole lot. Follow me on Twitter at Hippodippin, and I will hope to see you guys soon in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.